Great episode last night. I meant to film this last night. I was just being lazy. I was laying down right after the episode and I didn't move until it was bedtime. Episode 7, season 1 of Cloak and Dagger, Lotus Eater. That is the title, right? I was looking forward to this because where last episode left off, I was like, oh, this looks good. This looks good. Plus, it's more on-screen time for Tandy and Tyrone. Definitely what we all here for, right? But this episode was trippy. It felt like Groundhog Day, Inception, and then some nightmare type of, atmosphere. I don't know. I wouldn't really say horror. I'm not really into horror, but I wouldn't really say horror. But it was pretty intense to say the least. They didn't know what they were dealing with when they were inside this guy's mind. His daughter, of course, wasn't around when they did this. Tandy snuck in there, snuck Tyrone inside the hospital, and he's like, "What in the world, girl? Like, you are just all kinds of bad, aren't you?" But the thing is, inside this guy's mind, they're trying to help him because he's involved in a Roxanne event. Everything that happened between Tandy's dad and Tyrone's brother getting shot and the whole cover-up of the whole story, the explosion and everything. So inside his mind, they're thinking it's just like when they're everybody else's mind. No one can see you. You can see everything. They can't interact with you. No, this is a little different. Got these zombie-like people coming after them, and they have to really rely on fighting them physically, physically stopping these people. So Tandy's good with her powers. She can summon her daggers at will. Tyrone was getting better with his teleport, and it was more so in extreme situations, as we seen at the beginning when they were inside this guy's mind. What is this guy's name? Ivan Hess. That was his last name, Hess, right? I gotta write this stuff down. But anyway, when they were inside Ivan's mind, they're realizing that he's in a comatose state in the real world, and they're trying to get some answers, or at least see if they can help him. Tandy couldn't do it by herself. She couldn't get into certain parts. Find out this man's trapped inside his own mind. He doesn't even know who he is, and he has no recollection of having a daughter, being out in the real world. He thinks this is where he's always been. This is what it's always been. This is life to him, and all it is about like a half an hour worth of just sitting around doing the same thing every day, answering the phone, looking at some coworkers walk past, then one explosion, then another explosion. But he knows for some reason how to disarm it because he still has that knowledge of what he was doing in the real world. We saw some flashbacks at the beginning of the episode. So Tandy and Tyrone are spending some time together, but it's with this situation that's happening. Everything was fine. They were trying to figure out how to get him out of this. They was going to go down to the, basement or the core of the building and figure this out until the phone rings. And the dude picked it up and hung up at first because he's answered it like, thousands, millions of times or something like that. But she finds out her dad's on the phone. Now that was interesting because what happened here is she's so hung up on the tragedy of when she lost her dad. She remembers that night, everything that happened. Girl just started tripping. When she found out it was her dad on the phone, she picked that phone up, talked to him, and she could not just do without it. So Tyrone's like, look, girl, we gotta get out. I love this part of the show because what happens is Tyrone's more level-headed when it comes to dealing with extreme situations. Not extreme situations, but emotional stuff. I guess he had time to deal with it better. Tandy, on the other hand, they both experienced some trauma and change in their lives at the same age. But the thing is, Tandy turned to being rebellious, being a thief, drugs, her mother also. Tyrone had a complete family. He still had his mother and his father to work through this stuff with, although he's still dealing with some stuff internally by himself. But he still had love. And his parents kept it together for the most part, and that's very important. As you can see the outcome of how Tyrone turned out versus Tandy. Tandy's the wild child. She's bad, rotten, and she came from money, and now she's poor. Tyrone, at that time, I don't necessarily know if they were poor or not, but he's well off now. His parents are doing really good, and so is he's in a good school and everything like that. But he has manners. He's just a more well-rounded kid. You know what I mean? Well-mannered kid. But the thing is, it's just in these situations, he's the thinker. I mean, she's smart, but in a criminal sort of way. You know what I mean? Tyrone's smart in the let's not do this. This doesn't seem right. Even in going to somebody's mind, he's like, yeah, it's invasion of privacy. What are you doing, Tandy? And I like that dynamic. Opposites attract. Their powers are opposite and their personalities are kind of opposite, but they're linked through these powers and these traumatic events that they went through when they were kids. and they definitely have chemistry. You know what I mean? I mean, as far as actors have chemistry, and that plays into the show. So you know they're liking each other. I was on Twitter, a live tweet on shows, and it was funny because so many people, especially females, were going off when she was talking about Tyrone. You don't know how it is. I have nobody. He was like, you have one friend, and she's like, who? He says, me. Man, the memes went up, the crying memes and all that stuff, and it was crazy. But yeah, he feels the connection. She should feel that too, but she's really stuck in losing her dad. Her dad was everything good in her life, or she's realizing that he could have been everything good in her life because her mom just turned out to be a mess, and she misses that love and that just element of just being taken care of. That she thinks her dad probably would have handled the situation better than her mom did if her mom passed. But regardless, the thing is, Tandy just wanted to keep answering the phone. So after Tyrone left, when she lied to him, he's like, girl, you're a good liar, which he should already know. He goes back into the dude's mind and finds out that her memory is starting to fade. But, through, talking to her and helping her realize if that's really your dad on the phone and this is all real, he should be able to answer some questions that Ivan wouldn't know. So it's basically just Ivan's memory. You can't go beyond that. He knows what her dad sounds like. He knows that he had a daughter and all that. But she asked him a question, who's in the back seat with you? Ivan didn't know when he answered the phone years ago that he had his daughter in the back seat when he was talking to him. So that worked. Through that, they realized maybe we can bring Ivan out of this. He has to realize who made these cookies. That was from last episode. His daughter made cookies for him all the time. It was his favorite, and he didn't know. But somehow they brought some of his memory back. So Tyrone already tried to, go to the core, hit the kill switch, turn the valves. It didn't work because it's not his memory. It has to be Ivan. Ivan has to go down there. It's like he has to piece parts of his memories together, and that really wakes you up. And that's what he had to do. They get him out. He don't know who the heck they are. He don't remember everything that happened inside his mind. They have to get the heck out of there. But his daughter, Ivan's daughter, comes and she knows he's back. He's going to be very instrumental at them bringing down Roxanne. I believe that because he has information. He knows he's alive. They're probably going to try to kill him now. They probably left him alone because he was, zombie. But now he's back, So, wow, that's going to be crazy. Yeah, I just thought of that. I was just happy that Tyrone and Tandy went through something together, made it out together. But while they were in there, the fighting scenes, that was great action in this episode. Tandy got used to throwing her daggers now. Time moves differently when you're inside that person's mind or when you're in a state like that. So it seemed like she was in there for a long time. So she's got good at throwing. She was throwing left and right. Tyrone's teleporting and using this big monkey wrench to take people down when they were trying to protect Ivan. But yeah, the action, this was the action episode. It had some action in there. I was just like, how long before they're jumping off rooftops and Tandy's throwing daggers at Spider-Man, you know what I mean? Which isn't going to happen, but whatever. At the end of the episode, too, I really liked. After they made it through what they made it through, it was Tyrone, and he called Tandy. And she was like, how'd you get my number? Not the only one with skills, girl, but he probably used the internet or something like that. But anyway, the thing is, he called her. And he played this little tape of him and his brother just like rapping and stuff, and they were terrible when they were young. And, she's getting an element. She doesn't have a brother or sister, but she was just getting she's feeling the love that he had for his brother, the times they spent together. And he said he just wanted to play it to her because she's really the only person he can talk to that will understand. And, forget his girlfriend. The girl from school? No, he called Tandy, you know what I mean? So anyway, she asked him to play it again, and the episode ended with that, and he was just sitting on the phone talking. I love that part, man. I'm very romantic, and I love stuff like that. So that got to me. I'm like, oh yes, they're getting closer. We're closer and closer to getting a, Cloak and Dagger that I know from the comics. I have to say, man, the writers do good at having like Tandy and Tyrone do shit out with their arguments and their debates or whatever. He be talking to her harsh. He be using some vicious talk like, are you crazy? Remember when she was throwing the daggers at him and he had to keep teleporting? He's like, you're really trying to kill me. Girl, what is wrong with you? And he was trying to snap her out of this little, she just listened to her dad every few minutes or so, and she wanted to stay there, just keep hearing from him. The way he talks to her and sometimes the way she talks back to him, I'm like, ooh, they do some good arguments, like the writers do good. I mean, I guess they're going to give us that, and then, I'm wondering when they get to that point, if they're ever going to get to that point where they just so hopelessly devoted and dependent on each other, are they still going to have arguments and debates? Or is it just going to be them two teaming up? I think there's going to be a team around them, like Detective, what's her name, O'Reilly, who used to be in Power Rangers Dino, what was it? Dino, it wasn't Crisis, it was Dino Thunder or something like that. My nephew told me. See, he grew up around that time. He was a kid while Dino Thunder was on. I was a kid during Mighty Morphin Power Rangers series, the first, couple of seasons. So he remembered her. And he looked it up online and showed me. I was like, really? She was a Power Ranger? Look at O'Reilly. She was a Power Ranger. But anyway, like, it's going to be a team. It's going to be Ivan's daughter. I forgot her name. O'Reilly and somebody else helping Tyrone and Tandy. So maybe they'll always bicker between them. I mean, relationships do have their problems. Cloak and Dagger didn't agree on some stuff in the comics before. But not really. They're like an unbreakable couple in the comics. You can't split them apart, man. Them two, that's some real love. This seems to be a hit so far. Rotten Tomatoes or critics and stuff are loving this thing. Fans are loving this thing. Probably gonna get more than 10 episodes next season. I'm happy. The more the merrier for me. Some people like stuff to be shorter, tight, more compact. I understand. Anyway, that's my review. It was great. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments. See you next week, next time.